I'm really happy to catch up with you again. It's been like a year.
Yeah, and I was thinking that it's crazy when we had that message the other week. I was like, I honestly can't believe it's been 12 months. It's been absolutely nuts.
Yeah, Jace, and I like I said, I really appreciate you coming on, Jace, and just helping spread the awareness about what's going on with guys and men's mental health, and how we're working together, to make changes because the girls are so good at this stuff, and it's just such a honor for me to be able to do this. And a year ago, we got over Zoom and we had an unreal chat. And
Yeah.
so grateful that you've come on a year later to share your story and say what you want to say and don't say what you don't want to say. And man,
Yeah, man. I think I know I sent you we sent a couple of messages and stuff sort of back and forth, and I kind of touched on it there, but it's basically I definitely felt like I was stuck in a spot in life. I didn't know there was always like I don't know. I felt like there was crazy amounts of questions and emotions and things. I didn't know what to sort of deal with or how to deal with it. And I wasn't even sure what I was going to get out of the sort of session with yourself live. I sort of I watched a few videos that you posted up. I think we've known each other for a while, but the videos sort of they kept drawing me in. I was like, I feel like I'm just going to message Ivan and just sort of find out what it's all about because I didn't know what was going on. So I think that was the first big step. We got on. We did like a pre-phone call sort of thing, and you sort of I think I remember your questions like were sort of based around like what do I want to get out of it? No, I honestly said I'm pretty sure I said, oh, I'm not too sure, but I know that there's something there, and I think I just need to sort of hash it out a little bit and sort of find out what the next steps are. And I'd already started doing some work sort of on myself, and just trying to just better myself and better my position just in life and just as a person in general. I think we spoke about it, sobriety and stuff like that. That was a big part for me. I think that gave me the clarity to be able to sort of start thinking about what I wanted to do next. Whereas previous to that, it was kind of like whenever I started to sort of feel, anything that sort of felt odd or, maybe it was like, maybe it sort of felt touchy, I'd just be like, maybe I'll just have a drink and sort of wash that down and bury it down a little bit deeper and deeper. And it wasn't until sort of sobriety, sort of, it was about 12 months, I think, I'd been sober for it. Then it just started to feel like, yeah, this is what I want to do. I want to start to dig into it. And, it might be uncomfortable. And a lot of the things I was doing at the time were uncomfortable. I was reading a lot of personal development books and stuff like that. And, not to say that I was like, out of control or, whatever it was. I didn't honestly feel like I was out of control or that there was something seriously wrong. It just felt like something was niggling, and I was like, I don't know what it is. Like, and I think like subconscious. I do believe a lot in that subconscious sort of feeling that your instincts know sort of what's going on. And so when I did see your videos, I feel like it was like, and you just kept drawing me. I was like, I don't know. I'm just going to message you. So I messaged you, and then as I said, we got on the phone call. And right then and there, I'm like, yeah, we need to have this session. This needs to happen because I just feel like it's going to be that the next big step for me. And yeah, like I don't know. Since then, it's just kind of like opened up. Obviously my relationship with my partner has just like gotten so much better. Like I can't even really quantify it. And more so just communication and when I'm not feeling right or when I'm even when I'm feeling it's not and that's another thing I want to talk about. It's like it's not always about when you're feeling not right. It's also being able to celebrate when you are feeling right. You know what I mean? And don't feel guilty about feeling right and feeling happy. You don't always have to worry about everything. You can celebrate being happy, and you can also celebrate being sad because you're figuring it out and you're working through it and all that sort of stuff. So
Yes.
um yeah, it definitely sort of after that, after our chat and I remember, I think I remember messaging you, and I said it was like a couple of days later. I was like, man, I don't like, I feel really good, but I think I'm just scared. And you're like, scared of what? And I'm scared that it's gonna like go away, and I'm not gonna feel good. And you're like, well, that's it. This is it, man. This is this is the challenge. You just got to keep working and just keep working through it, and knowing that you were there after the fact.
Yeah.
Whenever I needed, I just pop you a message and you got back to me like incredibly quickly. And it was just kind of nice to know, like, yeah, you got my back through the whole process. And I honestly thought I was going to have to, maybe I'm going to have to get on another phone call with Ivan, just hash out a few things. And then, you know, we talked during the session about, you gave me this really cool tip where it's like, we talked about some scenarios and I said something about, I felt like I wanted to put like a protective helmet on and put my helmet on. And I remember you saying like, every time you feel like you're in that position, and you need a little bit of, like something to help push you through, just think about putting your helmet on and you're getting ready to go into that battle and just have it out. And I think that just, I drew on that a lot at the start, and then sort of afterwards it became easier to just like deal with it myself. Every now and then, even like a couple of days ago, I had a bit of an anxious day, and I sort of sat down. And normally that anxious day or anxious morning probably would have, just sort of set me on a trajectory for the day. I would have been quite anxious, and probably did things that I wouldn't normally do because I'm just acting not normally. And I just walked into my office and just took a couple of deep breaths. Probably took me about 30 seconds, and sort of just realigned my focus. And I was like, all right, I'm in control of this situation. I don't need to be out of control here. I just pull my head in and what's next? What do we need to do? And that was kind of my version of just chucking my helmet on there for that 30 seconds. So
That's
yeah.
Jace, that's amazing, because a couple of the things, like something that you described, like is what and you've probably heard me talk about it in some of the videos, like processing. It's like sometimes there's immediate change, or sometimes there's a build up over time. And that's why it's so grouse to catch up with you now a year later to see how those dominoes have sort of toppled over time. And then
Yeah, for
the
sure.
other, the other thing that you mentioned was like how your unconscious mind came out with this story about the helmet. I didn't
Mm.
say that. It was like your own mind came out with that to help you with that scenario. And
Yeah,
now,
for sure.
yeah, and it was like, man, we're on to this. Your
Yeah.
mind now is telling you, hey, this is going to work. So it's so good. And now you're at that stage where it's like, hey, I got this.
Yeah, for sure. For
So
sure. And like obviously there's good, there's good days and bad days. And as I said, I've
it's
learned to
life.
sort of just, yeah, exactly. Fucking hell. I'm sorry to swear. Exactly
You're right.
right, man. Like, some days are not great, and you just got to kind of roll with it and just sort of, I think what I've learned is just to sort of not be so damn hard on myself. And, I've done a lot of work and I'm still doing a lot of work. And, there's a lot of good things sort of happening. So you just got to sort of focus on that. And, yeah, as you did say, there was a lot of that processing time. I think that was the strangest part for me. It was like I've kind of always my whole life, prior to sort of going along this sort of adventure, it was like I always looked for that quick fix. It was like what would make me feel good, like now, like I needed it now, and that was what it was going to help me. And what I've learned is like there's no quick fix. You got to do a lot of work. You got to process. And as I said, I felt really good. For the few couple of days after the chat, and I was like, I'm just worried I'm going to lose this feeling. I'm going to lose this high. How do I get it again? And you constantly search for it. I think you got to be willing to actually get in there and do the work and search for it. And there is going to be some tough days, and I've had tough times since then. I've done it. I've looked into a lot of other little processes and things to sort of help free it up a little bit.
Right.
Good friend of mine does breath work sessions and breath work classes. And man, if you had told me 2 years ago, oh, you're going to be sitting in a room and you're going to be breathing and doing all this crap and there's drums in the background, and, I would have been like, get out of town, man, that's not happening. And here I am, putting myself out of my comfort zone. And he's very similar to yourself, where he just creates a space where you don't feel silly, you don't feel stupid, you just go in there and let it all out. And some days you go in there and it's not, nothing sort of happens. And then there's other times where it's just like amazing. These revelations that you have just in your own mind.
And Jace, what's his name and how can people get in touch with him?
So Barty Mercer, so he does check him out on Instagram. I believe it's just called Breath Work. I'd probably have to send you a link. It's not on the top of my head right now, but definitely Barty Mercer. Yeah, from around the Mornington area. He's
Nice.
yeah, an absolute legend of a guy. He's definitely on the same sort of wavelength as yourself, Ivan. Obviously where we're sort of heading in that. So yeah, big ups to Barney for sure.
Fantastic. And you're going to have a baby soon too, Jace.
Yeah, man, like 2 weeks. So like we're booked in now. I think we had a little chat before about had some sort of things not go quite our way, but at the end of the day, we had a chat to my wife, and we just said, the goal was to just get this, have this little boy and bring him into the world and happy and safely and as calm as we possibly could, and things don't go your way, and we've just kind of got to change our plan a little bit at the moment, and yeah, so he's booked in now for 2 weeks to sort of come out in the world, and yeah, I get a little bit emotional talking about it. I always do every time we bring it up. But yeah, it's gonna be a pretty bloody exciting time of my life, I reckon. So yeah,
Absolutely. You're going to
cool.
be fantastic. Fantastic,
Yeah.
Dad, Jace.
Mm.
So,
I'm
Jace,
really looking forward to it, man.
yeah, absolutely. Being a dad is the best. So, Jace, is there anything else sort of in regards to say, like, let me say this, is there any advice that you'd sort of throw out to the guys that are thinking about seeing someone to have a chat? And again, it's not just necessarily me. I mean, there's other like free services with Beyond Blue, Men's
Yeah, sure.
Kids Line, Lifeline, all different kinds of services and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I don't want people to think that, hey, it's just, hey, come and see Ive. Yeah, fantastic if you do, but also I want people to know that there's other great therapists out there. There's other free services, and what are your thoughts on that, Jace?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's like there's obviously a burning question in your mind, and should I do it? Or I think I can only talk from my experience. It was always like, should I do it? Should I do it? And it's not even, I don't even think that's the question. It's like, it's your own health. And I think, you want to be the best version of yourself, not just for you, for everyone around you as well. And if you're a dad or whatever it might be, you want to be the best version you can for your kids as well. And, as I said, it's not about always feeling bad. It's not always about feeling good. It's just like, if you feel like that you need to have a chat about anything, or you just want to sort of move past some things, or maybe there's something that you want to improve on, it's like everyone knows that. I think it's in the back, as we said before. It's like it's instinctive, and it's like, well, what am I stuck? Why am I stuck here? Don't do it yourself. You don't have to do it yourself. You can obviously work through things yourself, but man, there's as you said, there's guys like yourself. Yeah, as I said, Barney, those type of guys. There's people everywhere that are willing to help you. So just, I think if you've got that burning question and you don't know how to find, you don't even know what the question is, just start. Contact. As you said, there's free services, and then there's also people that are willing to help you everywhere else. Just make that initial contact. I think for me, the initial contact was like a big sigh of relief. I've done something, and I'm gonna sort of, I'm on the path to just feeling better. That's pretty much where I was at. And then once we had this session, obviously, as I said, there's some sort of tough couple of days just working through some bits and pieces, and but man, overall, like 12 months on, man, I'm just like so glad I did give you that call that day and just kept moving forward with it, man. It's yeah, changed my life for sure.
And Jay, as soon as we got on and I saw the way that you look, the contrast is
Yeah,
just, I can't explain how much different you look. And I'm so happy to see you beaming like this, man. It's the best.
it's
And
very cool, man. It's very
oh,
cool.
it's so cool. And and going back a step, and the other thing is, it's like what guys have got to what I'd like them to sort of consider anyway, is like people like myself, we've been through the trenches. I went and saw a counsellor as well. It's not like, like all of a sudden we're here, it's like often the people that are doing the kind of work that I'm doing, we've been through the mud hard. And it's like we've
Right.
come through the other side, and we've chosen to take this path, and to work with people to help them realize what's been going on and how they've got the answers within themselves. So
Yeah, for
let me
sure.
ask you this, Jace: was it really me giving you advice, or was it us just digging into things? It was different and unique. What?
Yeah, I have spoken about it before, and it was like the way that I felt was like I had like there was a couple of moments when you asked me a question and I was like, no, that's not how it is. I don't think that's how it is. And then it was like 30 seconds later, yeah, that's how it is. Like it was just like this sort of monologue, like that sort of was running through my head. And I don't like, and as you said, that I talked about the helmet scenario, and that's kind of what I took from that. And you know, it did for me. It felt like you were right there with me, but it was me with the answers, and there was a couple of probing questions that were just perfectly timed. That sort of that just triggered that sort of reaction, that response, and to hear yourself say the answer, that was probably like the like like oh shit, like I didn't know that was in my brain. Like where did that come from? And I think that's what I mean about being stuck. It's like it's like it, and you just don't know how to get it out. You don't know how to talk about it. That's
Isn't it
pretty much it.
fascinating, Jace? And it's, see, the thing that, through learning what I've been learning and everything, you start to realize it's almost like there's the conscious mind that's talking, but at the same time, the unconscious mind is talking. And
Yeah,
then
for sure.
once I get a feel of what's going on, and then that unconscious mind starts talking, that was actually your unconscious mind that was saying, hey, this is the way to go. And then, mate, you were off. And it was like
Yeah,
you doing the work. It was me just sort of pointing it out to you. It was all
yeah,
you. So,
yeah. I did feel like as I said, I've sort of spoke about it before. It was like it was just like it just like kept spewing out of me. Like sometimes I wouldn't even ask you, even wait for you to ask the question. I'm like, yeah, and you want to hear something else, Ive? You want to hear something else? That's kind of how I felt. Like it just ran and it ran, and as I said, you just kind of sort of helped. I knew you were there to make sure that I could just keep sort of moving through it, and because it would have been easy just to stop, right? You know what I mean? Oh, this is getting difficult. I'm just going to stop, and that's how I would normally sort of deal with it. It's like, no, no, you sort of like hang in there, Jace. And that's what I mean. Like you just it was pure coaching. I've been coached for many of years of my life, doing tons of different sports and whatever, and it was just like that's how it felt. It was just like that. You just sometimes you need someone to get, maybe you need to get a couple more reps out or whatever at the gym. That's kind of what it was like. It's like I can't do it. Like yeah, you can. You got.
yep,
Yeah, that's exactly how it felt, man. Exactly how it felt.
that was so good, Jace. You were incredible, man. And now you're
Yeah.
reaping the
Thank
rewards,
you.
mate. Like honestly, it's like I'm looking at a completely different person now. It's just amazing. I'm so good.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you, man, and grateful and everything else. It's the
Yeah.
best.
Man, thank you so much as well. Like, obviously, it obviously takes two to tango, but the work that you're doing, Ive, is just it's amazing. I still always see your videos pop up, and I always give you a like and a thumbs up because I know, I know the work you're doing is just amazing, man. And I think we're all pretty lucky to have you on our side, mate. So yeah, once again, thank you, man.
Thanks heaps, Jace, is there anything else you want to mention? But thank you for that. And I really appreciate you getting on, man, and having a yak with me. Anything
Yeah.
else come to mind that you want to mention?
No, not really. I think we've
That's
covered
it.
like we've covered a fair bit of stuff. Like obviously, as you said, it's like I think there is a ton of guys out there that probably do see stuff pop up and they think to themselves like like there's just that inkling like oh could I do that? Could I get in? Could I get involved in that? And I think the scariest part is that first phone call. It's like, and as I said, you don't need to be feeling terrible. You don't need to be feeling bad. It's just like most blokes probably just need to get into a session and just have a bit of a chat because yeah, we're all taught to sort of just bury it down and hide those feelings,
It's
tough it
not as
out. But
scary as what the guy
yeah,
as what we think, right?
no,
It's
it's definitely
yeah,
not. And as I said, I consider myself to sort of be like, that sort of, oh yeah, tough, tough bloke, yeah, don't
Yeah,
talk about it. It'll sort itself out. It's like, man, yeah, I'm definitely. I think I like to think that I'm like a living proof that that's not the scenario. That's not the case. And yeah, if you're willing to do it, then just get in and do it, man.
fantastic, Jace. Jace, once again, thank you so much for jumping on with
All
me.
right, man.
A year later,
Thank you.
after all, the session, and it's fantastic to get you on and just being able to share your story a bit with everyone, so I can get it out there, so other guys can see it and step forward if they choose to, and
Yeah, for sure.
get into the work and make their lives better. Because you mentioned it earlier, man. It's just, it's about people around you, yourself feeling great and moving on with your life and just being happier about everything.
Yeah, man. That's what it's all about. That's all
Thanks.
about. All
Thanks heaps, Jace.
right. Thanks. Cheers, my man.
I'll chat to you soon.
All right. Cheers, buddy.